That's here.
That's mine. Thank you. All right, what did you guys get?
I got a Belgian waffle.
I got the Vicious. It's the name of the restaurant.
Awesome. And I got Silence of the Hams.
Oh man, looks good.
And orange juice. They've got phenomenal orange juice. Hello App Nation, welcome into our first Coaches Getting Coffee here of 2024, and we've got a twofer for you, both distance coaches here at App State, Herbster and Annie Richards joining us here on Coaches Getting Coffee. We're at Vicious Biscuit here on Blowing Rock Road, right around the corner from campus. Thank you guys so much for joining us. How are you?
Good, thank you for having us.
Good.
Well, we want to talk about your journeys and what brought you here to App State. Brad, I'll start with you. You grew up in the Carolinas. You've coached around the country, Clemson, Texas, Pitt before coming to App. What attracted you to App State in the high country?
Opportunity, really, just opportunity to build a program, opportunity to be in a beautiful mountain town, and with so many tremendous trails here. And the leadership that App has on the track side, but also the administration side, it's just an exciting time.
Annie, you're a native of the West Coast. You grew up in Oregon, you ran at Arizona, you coached at New Mexico. How does App State get on your radar?
I was actually born in Boulder and then grew up in Eugene, Oregon, and those two cities are two of the biggest distance running communities in the country. So I was actually pretty picky before coming to Boone about finding a place that could be equally beautiful and an equally good place for distance running. So I saw that in Boone, all the trails and the community in the area. I think it's a paradise for distance runners. And then, like Brad said, the administration, our head coach, they know how good distance running can be here, and so their support has been really huge too.
Let's go back in time a little bit. You guys grew up running, you ran collegiately. What gave you that bug initially? Because for so many other people, and I think this is kind of the cliche, like running is punishment in other sports, it is your sport. What was the attraction initially?
Well, for me, I have a twin brother, and we were competitive all the way through, whether it was baseball, football, always competing. And one thing we do, if there wasn't a ball around, we'd race all the time. And so I was fortunate to have a shadow who kind of helped me along, helped me challenge myself, and that's how I got into running.
Annie, how about you?
Yeah, running wasn't easy at first. I don't think it is for anyone. So I think honestly it was the challenge. It was the fact that I wasn't initially very good at it, and it took time, but then once I saw it paying off year after year, getting better. And then I think there's this misconception that distance running is not a team sport when it really is, and I was just lucky to be a part of some great teams, and that's super transformative when you're surrounded by other really strong women who can help you be a better version of yourself, and you're contributing to that thing that's bigger than you. So
I want to get back to that individual sport but team sport in a little bit, but first, going from a runner to a coach, what inspired that transition?
That's a good question. I think it does come back to the team aspect, being a part of a team that can help transform you to be a better version of yourself. When I realized that I could be the leader of that team and the coach of that team, that's when I knew it was something I wanted to pursue.
Brad, how about for you? When did coaching get on your radar?
I owned a running company in Charlotte, and Stephen Haas, the kid who's now a track agent to the Stars, came in and started working with him out of high school, and he had some good success, and opportunity opened up at UNC Charlotte and kind of blossomed from there.
All right, Annie, let's go back to what you were talking about. It's an individual sport, whether it's cross country or distance track, but there's a team component in terms of the chemistry, in terms of the combined successes or failures along the way. Explain that. How do you coach individuals and also have this team collective?
I think every sport has a duality between what's going on in your own mind, your own mental game, and the collective, the rest of the group. And so distance running is really not a whole lot different than like a ball sport in that sense. And whether it's cross country or on the track, the goal is the same. You want to score points for your team. In cross country, it's the low score that actually matters, so you don't want to score points for your team, but it's the same thing. You know that you're out there representing something that's bigger than yourself. The some of the best and most enjoyable teams that I've been lucky to coach, the spread from the front runner to the next runner or to the fifth runner, which top 5 score in cross country, has been a matter of seconds. So that just speaks to when you have a group training together, doing everything together. Yes, you might have some individual variety in the training sessions, but they can come together on race day and really pack it up and run as a group. And that's a much better way. You said chemistry, that's a much better chemistry to have on race day.
All right, I'm gonna put on my hat of ignorance when it comes to team distance running. In terms of coaching, obviously there's technique and form just as there is in other sports, but outside of just wanting your players to run faster, what goes into improved performance individually and for the team?
I think for distance running in particular, you have to have a really good plan. You have to, for me, I start backwards and work forward type thing. And it kind of helps go, okay, this is where we want to be, this is where we need to be, have goals individually. And like Coach Richards was saying, it's really important to make sure that you're planning, but you're also looking at the individual. It is an individual sport with a team component. And so you coach each individual, but together you bring them together and make sure that the team is having success all the way around, because it's you're coaching individuals, but at a team level.
What are the strategies that come into play at a meet in terms of whether it be the terrain of a course in cross country or trying to figure out when it is you kind of kick it into that next gear at the finish line?
Yeah, well, you see a lot of strategies, especially throughout this season. I said, you know, both of us were working on strategies. Understanding the student athletes on an individual basis is extremely important, because what might work for one might not work for another. You look at the strategies and you're like, all right, this is the condition, these are the courses. Early on, we were really trying to just get the team to work together as a unit. It might be going out fast, it might be going out slow. For us as the men's team, we were trying to work on getting out fast in those first couple meets, knowing that the region, the conference, all that would go out pretty quick. But if you could learn to get out fast, then you could have a couple different options in racing. So.
Annie, what about recruiting? I think in a lot of team sports, perhaps, you know, you go out and you can have this eye test on how someone passes the ball or kicks the ball or shoots the ball in different sports. You guys have it easy in some ways that there's a number against a clock, but I would imagine in other ways that's challenging. What dynamic is there in recruiting?
Yeah, I mean, a kind of pro tip for recruiting, if you are able to go to a meet and watch the competition, don't just watch the race, also watch how the runner warms up, how they interact with their teammates, their current coach. You don't just look at the gun goes off, okay, now they're in first place, that's great. You also look at how they're preparing for the competition and then how they're reflecting on it afterwards and checking in with teammates and coach. So you still get a little bit of that sense of what the personality is. But like you said, a lot of it can come down to numbers, which it really helps narrow down when you're scouting a big group of athletes, a big region. You can use those numbers to look for, do they have a good 400 speed? Do they also have some good cross-country accolades? Not even necessarily times, but are they winning races when the opportunity is there to do so?
And that's one of the most important things, I think, is speed. And she touched on it. You got to have speed to have success. In distance running, people think, oh, if I run long and slow, I'll be fine. No, it's really about having that speed at the end of the races.
Yeah, Brad spoke earlier a little bit about the things that we do, the components of our training, and there really are a lot of skills with distance running. Speed is a skill, posture is a skill, what we do in the weight room, those are all skills. Good mechanics, that's a skill. But we don't necessarily talk about it the same way that other sports talk about it, but it's there. We really have to work on those things.
For you two, I know that every coach is busy all the time, but in those moments away, what are some hobbies for you away from it?
You know, I love coaching. I love working with the student athletes. A lot of the time it is, right now my wife and I are building a house, so that's part of the fun, is building a house from scratch. And here in Boone, there's always challenges, whether it's a mountain or whatever it might be. So, you know, that's what we're doing right now. So,
Annie?
Yeah, so we look forward to team brunch at the Herbster home soon. A lot of my hobbies have to do with running in some way, so I really enjoy to travel, and sometimes that's associated with big competitions that we go to, but on my own I like to travel too. I read a lot, and again, sometimes that's associated with the sport, trying to read up and learn more, but a lot of times that's just for fun.
What's your favorite spot to run in Boone?
I really like the Moses Cone Trail system. So the Fire Tower Hill Climb is a big one we do. That's a tradition for our program, but I like all the trails out there.
Brad, how about you?
Moses Cone Fire Tower is a great run. I love Don Kennedy trails. They're simple, they're easy, and they're close, really close to campus. So if you need to get over there and do a little trail work, great place to do it.
For sure. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been great to not only get to know you guys a little bit more, but also understand more about your sports.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Guys, this has been Coaches Getting Coffee. We're here at Vicious Biscuit on Blowing Rock Road. Stop on in. It's right around the corner from campus, or order online at Vicious Biscuit. Thanks so much for joining us. Our inaugural 2024 Coaches Getting Coffee. We'll see you next time.